You were listening to a Nerd Room podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Be sure to check out more from the Star Wars Commonwealth on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com and take your first steps into a larger world. Hey everyone and welcome to the Nerd Room. We talk all things Star Wars, Marvel, and DC. This episode number 144, we'll be remembering Stan Lee. I'm one of your hosts, Tim.
I'm Troy.
And I'm Sunjay.
It is a very, very sad week. Very sad day yesterday when we learned of the passing of the legendary writer, editor, and publisher for Marvel Comics, Stan Lee. This man was a creative genius that contributed to characters like Black Panther, Spider-Man, X-Men, the Mighty Thor, Iron Man, the Fantastic Four, the Incredible Hulk, Daredevil, Ant-Man, and countless others. He passed away peacefully at the age of 95 and rejoined his wife in a much better place. Now, gentlemen, this came as a shock to the majority of the community. It was something that, yes, maybe at that age we had come to expect, maybe, or be at least a little bit prepared for it, but I still felt myself rather shocked with the abrupt news of his passing. With people of this age, usually you do see somewhat of a degradation and you kind of begin to prepare yourself for a death like this, but I found myself not feeling this way since the death of Carrie Fisher a few years ago. It's really difficult to see someone like this pass, someone that's had such a huge impact on the culture, the community, and the comic books that we read, that we devote so much time to. And I think just at the top here, before we get into anything else, discussing and remembering Stan Lee, I want us to just pause for a few seconds here and just kind of reminisce here and just give a minute to reflect on Stan Lee before we talk a little more about him. All right, guys. Stan Lee. What I want to do here is I want to talk a bit about him in general. I want to talk about his influences. This pioneer who had been embroiled in this universe, been a creator in this comic book world for the better part of 6 decades. You know, not many people contribute in such a huge way to a single industry. This man, like I said, is responsible for everything in Marvel. Well, not everything, but most things. He is a major influencer on even the films that we watch, we review, we discuss on a weekly basis. You know, he'd been in that industry since 1939. He really made an impact in the 60s and 70s, and he's been a focal point for character cameos in the movies today. You look at the outpouring of heartfelt messages on Twitter that came, you know, immediately after the word of his death, from everyone from Chris Evans to The Rock, Robert Downey Jr., Alex Ross, DC Comics, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Rogen. From all walks of life, people were making tributes towards Stan Lee and voicing his impact on their lives. Now, gentlemen, how did Stan Lee impact you? Do you have any great stories of Stan Lee? How has he influenced your comic book reading to a point where you're sitting here on a podcast, a weekly podcast that we do together? How's he influenced you guys?
Yeah, I mean, definitely feeling this. This is probably one of the biggest losses that the comic book industry has felt in a long, long time. You know, Stan Lee, you know, started with Marvel Comics with Jack Kirby, and the two of them, you know, they kind of did everything. You know, we were talking about some of the creators. Me and you, Tim, were just talking before the show. If you look at like DC Comics, like people create like one amazing idea. You know, like Bob Kane created Batman.
Bill Finger.
Bill Finger, yeah. Bob Kane, Bill Finger, Batman. Siegel and Schuster created Superman. But these two, Kirby and Lee, like they created Hulk. They created Iron Man, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Ant-Man, I assume. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah. You know, X-Men, Spider-Man along with Steve Ditko. So he had his hand in creating everything for Marvel. Like there would be no Marvel comics if not for Stan Lee. And you could probably argue there'd be no DC comics without Stan Lee because the two of them kind of need each other, and they had that friendly rivalry going.
That symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, and there's definitely a respect there. I mean, Stan Lee even did a couple of comics called like Stan Lee Reimagines the DC Universe, where he goes back and he said, okay, if I was to do Batman, this is what I would have done. If I was to do Superman, this is what I would have done. And I was listening to his interview from 1987 with Jack Kirby. It was from the 70s, it's the 70th birthday for Jack Kirby. And Stan Lee called into the radio show, and they hadn't really talked in a long time. They kind of had a falling out. And then Stan Lee was talking about how, he really thought it would be cool if him and Kirby could write Batman, could write Superman, and write Wonder Woman, because he's like, I feel like we could inject new life into these characters. I was like, oh man, that would have been so cool to like see his take on it, wow. With King Kirby there. So it's a heavy loss. He was like the flag bearer, if you will, for the whole industry. You think of Comic-Con now, you see all the Hollywood A-listers that come, but 20 years ago, Stan Lee was like the A-lister, and he still had that. When he came to the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, I remember like I was volunteering. It was my first time volunteering, and I was in way over my head. Like I had no idea how insane it was, and I was working in the photo line, so I was like kind of under crowd control, and so I was on the front line, and only certain people could go in to get their picture with Stan Lee. And I think they oversold, or there was some like issue with that, so not everyone could go. But I think they like corrected it. But just at the time, just seeing like the people that could go in and just seeing their face light up, like I saw people that were in their 60s. I was just like, oh, I get to meet Stan Lee. And I saw a kid, never forget this, like a kid made a homemade like Gambit costume from the X-Men, and he got to go in. Dude was probably like 8 years old, but just to see his face, like I've never forgotten that throughout my whole life. Just the sheer joy, this kid like getting to meet Stan Lee, like his idol. And look at that, like how many people you can have someone, an 8-year-old and a 60-year-old, and say that's their idol.
Right.
Like I can't really think of anyone.
Yeah. There's no one.
No.
Really, it's like maybe like someone like Steven Spielberg or something like that. Like he was kind of like the Spielberg of the comic industry, if you will. Like the Wayne Gretzky of the comic industry, the Michael Jordan, but like those guys retired. Stan Lee was still like always active and doing stuff in and around comics, and he always had this presence about him. I never met the dude personally. I just heard stories of people from the Comic Expo working, just saying how much energy he had, and he was always had time for the fans, and he was always willing to engage a fan and talk to a fan, and just like I think when he was in his 90s, like he was still doing it. Then like in Calgary, like coming up to Calgary, and I like to think we're like a big deal, but it is like Stan Lee kind of legitimized the expo for me in a way. It's like you didn't make it, you didn't arrive until like Stan Lee came to your expo kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And like he would do it all, and he was signing autographs for like his grandchildren for like college money and stuff. And yeah, he is a legend. He will be missed. It's a sad day, man. Sad day.
Yeah, man, it's a bummer completely. 2018 we've lost Ditko and John Schnepp, and now the man himself, Stan Lee. It sucks. He's gone to that age, where you kind of expected it not to. You kind of have like that scary that we just had with John Williams, even. Like these are the greats, and so when this day happens, even you kind of know it's coming. You can never prepare for it. So it's super unfortunate, and just the legacy this guy leaves, the stories that he's given us. It's something else, and one of my coolest memories I remember is there was an interview way back of the 89 Batman was coming out with Bob Kane, and Bob Kane was so proud of his character Batman to make it on the big screen, and him and Stan Lee kind of had a little rivalry, like you mentioned, but they're okay on good terms, and Bob Kane passed away obviously far before Stan Lee did, but I remember Stan Lee always said when Spider-Man came out, the movie, that he wishes Bob Kane could have seen what this has become. But now, even on a grander scale of the MCU, like what it's become, it's so much further than Spider-Man, the Sony production. Right. So, just everything he leaves behind. His cameos were just like no other. Man, it's a shame just hearing his voices in even like video games and stuff like that. I mean, I've been playing the Spider-Man game recently on the PS4, and he even makes a cameo in that video game. That's and he looks great, it's tragic, man.
Yeah,
it's a bummer.
It certainly is. And speaking of cameos, I watched Teen Titans Go this past
There you
week.
go,
nice,
right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think of it?
I was all right. I was kind of hungover, so
A little too much when you're hungover.
yeah, it was a lot, and the connection to the characters wasn't as deep as maybe it needed to be. But my wife was shocked at that Stan Lee showed up.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting because it was that evening, I believe, that he passed away.
Oh, interesting.
So we went and saw him, saw this cameo and all that.
Yeah.
Really excited, and it's a great cameo.
It is.
It's
Yeah,
quite
it's
lengthy
funny.
as
Yeah.
well. And it was really nice to see that, and then to get the word of his death. You know, it's one of those things that I find myself struggling with famous people that I've never really met. I've met Stan Lee actually,
Right.
but I find myself, because there's such a gap between myself and them, you know, and I've never really put anyone up on this big major pedestal to the point where I'm, you know, completely torn apart. But this one really hit me in an odd way and an unexpected way. He's someone, like I said, that I had met before. I'd shaken his hand. I've had a conversation with him at the Calgary Expo, I believe in 2012 or 13.
Okay.
I got him to sign the Avengers teaser poster, which is up behind me here, as well as a reprint of Avengers #1. So he sat there, he signed them. You know, it was funny because we were right at the front of the line. And he gets up and goes to take a leak. I'll never forget this. It was like that waiting, that extra 2-3 minutes for him to kind of shuffle off and then come back, and just the way that he sat there and was smiling, shook my hand. You know, I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing Avengers. Oh, it's great. You're gonna love it.
Oh, wow.
It's something that I'll never forget. I'm not an autograph guy whatsoever. This is the only 2 autographs I have in my entire collection, and it had to be Stan Lee, and it had to be on something Avengers focused.
Of course, yeah.
Because he's the guy that brought that.
Yeah.
And in the absence of him, I don't think we get any of this comic book stuff.
No.
Oh, for sure not.
You know, and he's really been one of those people that has pushed diversity a lot in comic books. You know, he co-created Black Panther in a time when, you know, we could look back 20, 30, 40 years ago, the social atmosphere, not too dissimilar from today, but at the same time, he's out there pushing the forefront of this. And, you know, going back to some of his cameos, there's one that I pulled out of here from Spider-Man 3. It's one of my it's not my favorite cameo of his, but he's got a line in there that I recently saw popping back up on Twitter.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
And it just gives me goosebumps because it's so very true that one single person can make such a huge, huge impact and a huge difference on the community, on everybody. You know, you talk to anybody, they know who Stan Lee is. I saw people posting on Facebook, Twitter, and texting me. Like, Tyler texted me. Sad day, bud.
Yeah.
Like, one of my buddies that he's kind of likes this stuff, but he's very dislocated from it. People posting things. You know, it was an incredible thing to see how a community just rallied around the death of one of the greats, the legends. And it's so unfortunate. But the thing that I look at, too, is that, like you said, Troy, he leaves a massive, massive legacy. And it's one of those legacies that I find that we're going to be explaining to our daughters one day when they're asking, who's this guy that keeps showing up in all these films?
Right.
You know, who's this guy's responsible? Who gets credit on every single Marvel film?
Right.
Because that's going to be really their exposure. And it's one of those things that I look forward to saying, you know, this is Stan Lee. The guy looked the same for 20 years.
Oh, I
Oh,
know.
for sure,
He's on pause, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's great to sit and reminisce. And I look forward to the day when there's, you know, that detailed biography. Like, they're out there. And that, but the Stan Lee story, you know.
Well, there's talks of a movie about it, I
Yeah.
believe they're making, right? Yeah.
That'd be great. It should be Bryan Cranston that plays him.
Yeah, with that green sweater.
Yeah, right?
Oh, come on. It's, there's a book actually called The Untold Story of Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Of Marvel Comics, actually. And I'm not sure if it was ever really endorsed by Stan Lee, but it's a great way to listen to the chronicling of the history of Marvel Comics. It goes back to Timely in 1939 when Stan Lee comes on board, and then it takes you through the entire history of Marvel Comics. So if you ever want a perception, and again, I don't know if it was endorsed by Stan Lee, but if you want at least some idea of how much he's influenced the industry, take a listen to that book on Audible. It's absolutely great. It gives you just this down to earth idea of what he contributed. Yeah, there's some ups and downs and all that, as you do. This is why he's had falling outs with people. But it's a great way to get a full perception, understanding as what he's contributed and what he's done to this industry. So, well, one thing that I want to do before we kind of wrap this up a little bit here and kind of say our final goodbyes to Stan Lee on the podcast here. What's your favorite Stan Lee cameo?
Oh man,
this is something that we all enjoy. We all
There's
look
so
forward
many.
to every
Every
film.
time.
You know, and I imagine every time it happens, my wife turns to me or you turn to me. Stanley.
It was gonna be sad because he filmed a bunch that haven't been released yet.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be in Avengers 4.
Yeah, and probably in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, probably in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Maybe even in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, maybe even a new one in Deadpool coming up.
Yeah.
Oh
Maybe.
yeah.
I know because they've done a lot of reshoots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even the X-Men as well. Dark
yeah,
Phoenix.
Dark
He will
Phoenix
have one
for
of
sure.
them too.
For sure, yeah. I got two. One's not a Marvel film. It's Mallrats for Kevin Smith.
Yeah, so good.
So it's the one where he's there, and he's quite young actually in that. It's from the early 90s. Well, young is relative term, but he definitely looked young, and he's talking to one of the characters in the film about love and stuff. And it's a good cameo. It's pretty funny. You should check it out. I think one of the characters asked him about Mr. Fantastic, and he's like, so he can stretch any part of his body?
Sounds about Mallrats.
Yeah. And the other one, I'm going to go even though I didn't absolutely love this film, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when he's been released, or he's been confirmed as the Watcher.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's my favorite too.
Yeah.
I always loved the one from Amazing Spider-Man 1 when Peter's fighting the lizard in the library, and there's like this like orchestrated music going in the background because Stan's listening to it on his headphones.
Yeah.
And Spidey and the lizard like totally going at it. Spidey like, saves the table.
Right.
About to hit Stanley. I thought that was brilliant and very Spider-Man-like. I like one from the 90s cartoon of Spider-Man 2 when Spider-Man, remember, actually gets to meet Stan Lee in the real world. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
The director that directed all those DC Comics films, the animated ones, I think Olivia, he actually just retweeted me. Shout out to me.
Oh,
that's
there you
pretty
go.
Yeah,
Nice.
he actually posted that he worked on that when he was first starting in the industry.
No way.
So that was one of the first things he did, yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, and I love the Guardians one. Obviously.
That's by far my favorite one. Just confirming that fan theory.
Yeah.
That he is the Watcher, him appearing in all the Marvel films from all the different universes. Absolutely fantastic. There's a couple early ones too. I believe it was, I can't remember, Fantastic Four 2.
Yeah,
actually.
the wedding.
When he's trying to get into the wedding.
That was great.
Yeah. Tell him to get lost.
Yeah.
I love that one, yeah.
Age of Ultron 2 is great too when he gets smashed at the
Yeah,
end of the army.
And then he's like, Excelsior.
I love that one.
It seems like all his best cameos were in the movies that weren't like the greatest. I don't know what it is. You can like judge a movie by like if the Stan Lee cameo was amazing, the movie quality was down. But if the Stan Lee cameo wasn't amazing, then the movie quality was up.
Tony Stank.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of cap this off here, I think on behalf of the three of us, we just want to say, thank you, Stan Lee, for everything you've done, the way you've influenced our lives, and the way you're going to continue to influence our lives for years and years to come. Yep. There's no way we can repay you, but we will attempt that by pushing your legacy, passing it on to our children, and making sure that your characters, your creations are forever kind of beholden here on the podcast, and that we'll always push Marvel Comics to do good things with your characters. So Stan Lee, rest in peace. All right, gentlemen, it's always difficult to move on from something like that, but I'm glad we got to sit and talk a little bit about Stan Lee and kind of give some of our favorite moments and on that. But now we're going to move into the new segment of the podcast. And we're going to try to ramp up the tempo here a little bit as well. No disrespect to Stan Lee, but we got some news to talk about here. We got some exciting things coming out of Disney. Looking back at Disney Plus, we've got finally the announcement, a peek behind the curtains as to what this is going to be. We've got a couple of series that we're going to talk about a little later on in the episode that were officially confirmed by Bobby Iger himself. But first things first, Venom.
Yeah.
This is a Marvel film nonetheless, that wasn't particularly well received by 2/3 of this podcast here.
1/3 liked it. It seems to be a trending topic when we do movie reviews. 1/3 likes it, 2/3 don't.
But that's about the diversity of the podcast.
Unless it's an MCU film, then 2/3 like it and 1/3.
Yeah, I didn't like Ant-Man the Wasp. I wasn't.
I'm just kidding.
He's playing his character. But the reason this has come back to the table here is not because the quality, not because we're re-reviewing it or there's been some new light shed on this thing. It's the freaking box office.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it keeps going.
This thing finally secured a release in China. Now, domestically, it's done okay. It's over $200 million. Now it's sneaking up on Solo: A Star Wars Story, which is very, very surprising. I would not have bet any kind of money that would come anywhere near that at the start of the year. But this China box office and this international haul that we are now seeing has really moved the needle on this franchise. It debuted in China to upwards of $111 million on a single weekend. Now that makes it the second highest grossing comic book film in China, the highest grossing debut in China ever, just behind, well, not just behind, about $90 million behind Avengers Infinity War, which is completely different end of the spectrum. Like, you can't compare anything to that film.
For sure.
So this really changes things again for Venom. Not only the domestic total, but the international total, which puts it now upwards of $675 million worldwide.
Wow.
That's domestic and international.
Nice.
So this is going to have a huge impact on this franchise and the go forward from Sony. Now, looking back a couple episodes, we kind of dug into the future of Spider-Man on film, and the Venom film here is really contributing to that as to what it's going to evolve into eventually. But what I'm seeing here, and what we talked about before, is the fact that Venom now is a proven commodity. It's a proven piece of merchandise. It's something that they can sink their teeth into and now put out there in the absence of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So this major Chinese box office opening, how much do you think this moves the needle for Venom? And what does this do for sequels and that universe?
Yeah, it seems like there's certain movies or franchises that the Chinese box office just absolutely goes crazy for.
Devours.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there's over a billion people in China, so the market is absolutely enormous. I'm talking like Transformers, always a hit there.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Pacific
matter on
Rim.
the quality.
Yeah,
Pacific
yeah.
Rim,
Terminator.
Fast and the Furious movies, and now Venom. The thing is, the movies don't have to be the greatest quality because, well, there's a language barrier. I don't know, like...
It's all translated.
It's all translated for sure. But it definitely, like, the special effects and stuff, I find, like, if it's really good special effects and stuff, I think that those translate well to, like, international box office numbers. I'm hoping for Aquaman that remains true. What does this mean for Venom? I think their sequel was going to come either way, to be honest with you. I think the Sony verse is just going to plunge forward now. So expect to see more news about the Morbius the Vampire and Craven. Yeah, so, we're going to go forward, and then Venom 2 is going to come, and I think maybe Sony might actually just say, you know what? You keep Tom Holland Spider-Man. We'll introduce our own Spider-Man, or we'll bring back the dude.
Garfield?
Garfield, yeah. Bring him back.
Yeah.
Because he would work so well in this universe, the tone they were setting.
Oh, yeah.
With the first one anyways. Like, the second one, we can just pretend didn't happen.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? And just, like, say, okay. Because it would be really cool if he came back and you had him and Venom teaming up against the Sinister Six with Carnage or some, like, crazy shit like that.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm excited. Like, anytime, it seemed like there's just going to be 2 movie universes. Now we got a legit third leg to this tripod.
Yeah.
Kind of like our podcast.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. I mean, good for Sony. Hats off to Sony for doing this. This is something else. I think it's really good too, the fact that a lot of eyes have seen this film, which means a lot of eyes have seen the second last after credit scene, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Go check out that movie. Yeah, this is crazy. I think it's definitely going to fast forward a Venom 2. I would say.
Yeah.
They might even. I don't know. Maybe they'll hold off of Craven for a little bit, just because that's like less CGI focused.
Yeah.
Morbius, maybe they'll push that out, but I really feel like it's a fast track for Venom to, up the ante on Carnage there. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they're gonna do. But this is such a shocker. Did this do better than Last Jedi then in China?
It must have.
The qualifying thing that I had here that I looked up was actually, or did a comparative to, was it was comic book movies.
Oh, comic book movies. Okay.
So
right.
I think you know what? The Last Jedi did really poorly in China.
That's so
like
crazy
really
to me.
poorly in China.
Yeah.
Let me look that up.
It's somewhere between want to say like
24 or something.
Yeah, something really
Really
low. Really
Yeah.
low in China. So and that goes to this discussion we've had in the past about the broad appeal of Star Wars in China.
Right.
And that it's more of a generational thing for the rest of the world and not so much there because they didn't have that exposure to the original trilogy.
Right.
Now, when you look at comic book films, to me, there's two aspects of this. There's the pure volume of people that are watching this and the lack of relative competition internationally. So they only get a dozen or so international films that debut in China a year. They have to secure a particular release date and it has to conform to the standards that the Chinese government have set aside for movies debuting in China. Now, you take both of those factors in and you dump in a movie like Venom that meets those standards, CGI focused, it tells a story, and there's a lot of people going and seeing it.
Yeah.
That amounts to major money. Now, my fear about this is that it gives Venom a pass.
Yeah.
And it's usually the box office, which is the deciding factor on to a degree on quality. Now,
Right.
there's exceptions, rules like Transformers and that, but we saw that slowly degrade down into something that was a complete mess, and that turned that franchise around to what we're getting in Bumblebee. Now, my fear is that Sony is going to see dollar signs and run as fast as they can with a half-done script into Venom 2.
Yeah.
I want them to just pause and say, look, we have something that's marketable here. We can make money. We know we can make money. Now let's up the ante here and do a better film.
Yeah, the quality, right?
The quality needs to be there. I fear for the quantity, the dollar signs taking over in the relative short term. There's going to be demand from shareholders to produce these films to make the money.
Yeah.
And that's where the quality is going to suffer for me. So I think it's really great that Venom's doing really well globally. It's going to hit $700 million. It's going to come quite close to actually Deadpool 2's worldwide cube, which is very, very impressive because Deadpool is, again, it's a rated R comic book movie film, but it's a proven commodity as well. This is now showing that it can compete there. It's done better than Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ready Player One.
Yeah.
It's heavily outgrossed Solo Star Wars story.
Wow.
So the international market is again proving on the comic book movie side to be a major factor in the box office. $400 million internationally and then $200 million domestically. So over doubling the hauls. So there's going to be a lot of focus shift again back towards China and making that market something that, or at least the movie in itself, something that's consumable by that market. So the Chinese market is a big thing. I find it completely and absolutely fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As to how much influence we're going to see from the Chinese market in the foreseeable future.
Well, it's such a big factor to take into consideration with any film coming out, especially comic book films.
It has the potential to be a bigger market than the United States.
Yeah.
If this movie has another 2 or 3 good weekends, it's going to match the domestic total of both Canada and the U.S. for Venom.
Wow.
There's other movies that are heavily skewed the other way. But
Yeah.
So what do you guys think for, like, going off of Venom, how do you do a trilogy for Venom? Like, because I feel obviously like spoiler territory here, but at the end of Venom 1, we get the hint we're getting Carnage, which is like the big bad Norman Osborn Joker. So we're clearly getting him in part 2, but how do you cap it off in a part 3?
Maybe he doesn't defeat Carnage in part 2.
Then you bring him back?
And then you bring him back for 3 and he has to maybe he has to team up with Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Kind of dangle Spider-Man like the Thanos?
Yeah. Or if you just have a thread come down and Spider-Man just drops down. It says, "Hi, Eddie," at the end or something.
Hey,
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
to me, you dangle Carnage.
Dangle Carnage, right. Yeah.
You don't do Carnage for number 2.
Don't put him in number 2.
No.
Really?
You have him maybe as someone in the background.
Yeah.
But you do a Thanos type thing, right?
Yeah.
You do a Joker style of type thing with the Dark Knight, except for we're starting at number 2. You dangle that main character in front of your face twice.
Yes.
Get people intrigued. You come back for that third film.
Yes.
That is Carnage versus Venom. There's nothing bigger than that in that universe, other than having Spider-Man involved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you involve Spider-Man, the way that you're going with Venom, Spider-Man then has to be the antagonist.
Right.
And how do you do that? Or do you do a team up?
Well, you could do a team because they made Venom pretty.
Yeah.
I say less anti-hero, more hero in this one. Hey?
He wasn't
Other
very
than
even
eating
anti
people's
hero.
faces.
Yeah.
Well, that was Venom. That wasn't like Eddie Brock seemed like a pretty good guy. In
Right,
the
as
film,
opposed in
right?
the comics, Eddie Brock is not the nicest guy,
Yeah,
right?
he's kind of flawed. Yeah.
Yeah. So-
I just looked up Last Jedi opening weekend, 28 million in
Yeah.
China. Total gross 42 million in
Yeah.
China.
Holy
So
wow.
nothing at all.
That's crazy.
Not
Well,
even a dent, really, on
yeah.
the blip of the Last Jedi's total
Right.
worldwide haul, right?
Yeah.
Not a huge market that's impacting that.
Way less than I expected.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to watch this space because
Mm-hmm.
now Sony has a property that isn't Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, and I'm excited about the fact that they don't particularly need Spider-Man
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
I just leave him where he is.
Yeah.
Keep cashing the checks from Marvel. Use that to fund this universe and go to town.
Yeah. Well, because they have 3 universes, right? They have the Into the Spider-Verse, they have the MCU,
Yes.
and then they have Venom.
Right?
So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the Spider-Verse looks great.
it looks so good.
I'm so excited.
good. Those
for that.
posters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Sony doesn't have really much else. I mean, they just released that one. They tried to kickstart that, like, the girl who kicked the hornet's nest or the
Didn't
girl
do that
on
well,
fire.
did it?
No, it did really bad. Like 8 million opening weekend or something. Did they do The Grinch? Because that did pretty
No,
good.
That was
It did 66 this weekend.
66 mil, yeah.
It wasn't Sony though.
DreamWorks?
I think it was like DreamWorks
Oh, was it?
or the person the same creators that did like Littlefoot, that other animated
Oh,
film.
that was
just came out.
WB. I don't know if that
Is that
was
WB?
Smallfoot or something.
Smallfoot, yeah.
the one with like LeBron James.
Oh, okay, that's WB.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Interesting space to watch.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break here, and you're going to hear from Carlos, our good friend from over at Tumbling Saber. He's going to tell you a little bit about his Patreon. So just pause for 2 minutes here, listen to what Carlos has to say, and we will be right back after this message to answer Grab's question for this week.
Hello, listeners of the Nerd Room. I'm Carlos Candido. You might recognize me as one of the hosts of the Sith Disturbers and Tumbling Saber podcasts. I also host my own podcast called Thinking Out Loud, which you can find on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. What you might not know is that I am primarily a musician, singer, songwriter, poet, producer, and artist. I recently brought my talents over to Patreon and started a campaign called Carlos Creates, and I'd love it if you took a few seconds to check it out. My goal is to release an album every year and increase video productions, vlogs, and a making the album style documentary called Making Stuff. The tiers start at $3, $5, and $7, and provide Patreon-only content like photos and videos, access to a VIP Facebook group, and monthly prize draws. But most importantly, every tier includes my monthly music releases. Every month, you'll get a downloadable MP3 in your Patreon feed. New music every month as an exclusive. All the details of the tiers can be found at patreon.com/CarlosCreates. Finally, I'd ask you to check out the Tumbling Saber podcast and all the other podcasts that make up the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network at StarWarsCommonwealth.com. And now, back to Tim, Troy, and Sunjay.
All right, guys, we are back. We hope you enjoyed hearing from our dude Carlos. Everything that he talks about there is a high recommend for me. I'm in on his Patreon campaign. It's fantastic stuff. Like, he's always creating. He's a brilliant artist, and just go over there. It's $1 or $2 a month, whatever it is, $3 a month, and it's well worth it. Getting to interact with someone like that that's already in our community, but it's also outside creating other things. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, thanks so much, Carlos, for the ad.
Yeah, he had your back today on Twitter too.
I know. Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, he's check out Aquaman just for me. He said, if he does, you know, if he's in Calgary and he wants to check it out, I'll buy him a popcorn.
There you go. Popcorn, a kernel.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Grab's question for this week.
Well, we need the theme song.
Dude,
You brought it back?
Yeah. You've been working on this thing for like, I think Grab's been part of this for like almost a year now.
I know. Well, I feel like I'm the only one. You know, we can also do like a theme poem. It's a little less popular, like a jingle or something.
Sure.
Like,
Here's the thing. By the end of the year, if you have a jingle, we can record it and we'll put some music to it and we'll use
perfect.
it. Yeah.
Instead of like jingle bells, it could be Grabs bells. You like that?
Might not
Work
get
on
more
it.
questions from Grabs.
All right, guys. The subject this week reads, it only takes a moment. Tim, Troy, and Sunjay. I've never understood the love for Punisher. I've always needed more than just a merciless vigilante. I got what I was looking for when I read the Civil War run. After Frank Castle kills a couple of bad guys who are working for Captain America, the two duke it out. Or should I say, Captain America pummels the Punisher. Awesome. I love that. Refusing to raise fists against someone that isn't criminally made made me understand and respect the character of the Punisher a lot more. My questions for you this week are: what are some of your favorite character-defining moments for characters you were skeptical about until that moment? Which characters are you still unsure about and why? And which characters have become fan favorites that had initially struggled for popularity? Lastly, what are some of the lowest moments in comic book movies and TV for your favorite characters? Thanks in advance. Grabs.
Nice.
Always bringing it.
Yeah,
Always bringing it.
Kills us.
Let's break this down a little bit. All right, guys. What are some of your favorite character-defining moments for characters you were skeptical about until that moment, that defining moment? Sunjay, you look like you're about ready to burst here.
I got one, and it's how apropos with the Aquaman movie coming out next month. When the DC New 52 hit, I didn't pick up Aquaman right away. I kind of shied away from it because I had this perception that Aquaman was lame. Just from what you hear in like the public media and stuff like that, the public conscious, Aquaman has always been seen as like a hero that's not up to snuff.
Kind of a wiener, yeah.
Yeah, like a fish talker.
Yeah.
But then I was reading Jeff Johns' Justice League run, and in the run, each issue at the beginning, it kind of introduced a new member of the Justice League. And there's a scene, I can't remember what issue it was. It might have been 4 or 3 or even 5 or 2 or 1. No, it wasn't 1 or
Somewhere
6.
between 1 and 10.
Somewhere between 1 and 6. They show Aquaman, and there's these parademons, and they're gonna like capture some people or kill some people. And then you see Aquaman like a orchestra, like a conductor at an orchestra. He has his hands out with the trident in the air, and there's these great white man-eating sharks just devouring the parademons. And I look at that splash page, and I'm like, that's something right there. Like, that is a superhero that I want to know more about. So I raced out, bought the Aquaman the Trench. I think that's what it's called. The first 6 issues, read it, and just been a huge fan of Aquaman ever since. So that was like the one defining moment for me where I completely did not 360 because I would have been at the same place where I was, a 180, where I turned my back on hating Aquaman and becoming an Aqua fan.
Yeah, you're a big time Aqua fan now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like you got Mira, you got Black Manta,
Yes.
Ocean Master.
Yeah.
Ah man.
Aqualad.
Aqualad.
Yeah.
Oh, this.
From Young Justice. I go with that one. That's my Aqualad.
Well, you should try out for Aqualad for the sequel.
Yeah.
That Michael B look.
Yeah. That's a good one, man.
I think someone actually tweeted like Yahya Mateen the Third, I think that's his name, who actually plays Black Manta. Like, oh, Michael B should be Aqualad.
Oh,
And
really?
He's like, dude, we're almost the same age. Like, how old do you think I am? Because Aqualad is his son, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
Jeez. All right, I got one here.
Yeah.
I got kind of 2, but I don't know which one to go with here. But I gotta go to Hulk. And This is gonna be an
Okay.
MCU Hulk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So coming off of the Incredible Hulk, I didn't. That movie's all right, but I didn't love it.
Yeah.
And then his inclusion in Avengers
Yes.
threw me at the start. Mark Ruffalo kind of threw me. I was a bit disappointed of
Yep.
the continuity and all that. And even the early iterations when we got him fighting Thor, it's a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
But I never knew where they were going with it.
Right.
And the defining moment for me, which made me a Hulk fan, was the "I'm always mad" scene. Where he turns up
Yeah.
and punches that flying creature in the
Yes.
face. And then from then on, Hulk is the breakout character of that film.
Yeah, that's
So
nice.
For me, the Hulk, the defining moment for Hulk, which turned me from someone that was a bit skeptical in the inclusion of the character to a fan, was that moment. That's when Mark Ruffalo became Bruce Banner and the Hulk for me.
Yeah.
It was an incredible turnaround and something that was unexpected. He shows up on that bike, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic scene, and it's a defining moment for that character in cinema as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I put him on the map, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because after that, everybody was loving Hulk. Everybody was
Yeah.
like, Hulk was the standout of that film.
Yeah,
For sure.
and that's
Yeah.
when you get the comedic beats going on and all that. Because prior to that, it was Bruce Banner fumbling around a little bit. He's great in the film.
Yeah.
And then in hindsight, I think it's once you've seen it through, it's, Mark Ruffalo is Bruce Banner and
Yeah.
Hulk is the Hulk. But it was that moment that changed it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good call.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Defining moment for me, I feel like I say this once every, maybe even twice, I don't know. But Jonathan Hickman's run. I'm
Right.
always putting him on blast, and I love the Fantastic Four Jonathan Hickman run. And for me, it's the Human Torch. I've never really been on board with the Human Torch, and it unfortunately took the death of the Human Torch in order for me to like the
Well,
Human Torch.
didn't he get his ass beat in Civil War by like some bar people like waiting to get in?
He did. Yeah, he had his hair dyed black there, I think. Or
Yeah,
something.
and like
He's
some
undercover.
like bar people like waiting to get in, like beat him up. I'm like, dude, you're a superhero. You took down
Yeah,
Doctor Doom and you
yeah.
got beat up by some drunk college kids. Like, how are you sweet?
Hey,
Yeah.
don't underestimate drunk college kids. You were one of those ones.
But actually, this event kind of takes place a little bit after that. Actually, kind of with your Annihilation Wave,
Yeah.
right? So you have basically the Future Foundation, who is like under the Fantastic Four. They're under Reed Richards, but they're kids, brilliant scientist kids, and they're under attack from like the Annihilation Wave. I believe they're leaving the negative zone and they're about to attack
Yeah.
the Baxter Building. So the Future Foundation kind of jump into the negative zone to close them off, along with Johnny Storm. They go in there, and when they go in there, there's like billions, I think, of these like annihilation waves going on. They can't take these guys out. So what they realize, what they have to do is they have to like close down the portal in the negative zone, but on the inside, and only one person can do it. So one person has to stay because you have to do it on the inside and like have a random code to like close off the gate.
Sounds familiar.
Right? So Johnny Storm has this brilliant moment where it's kind of like the whole Armageddon kind of Ben Affleck kind of stayed behind, but Bruce
Willis?
Bruce Willis, yeah, Bruce Affleck. Anyways, yeah,
They could get married. That'd be kinda...
stays behind to do it. So Johnny Storm stays behind and closes off the gate, and the kids make it out, and you get this great splash page of him being like flame on for the last time. Then it's like over the shoulder of Johnny Storm, and he's taking on this huge wave of these characters, and that's like the last screen you see, and
So
obviously
awesome.
you assume
It's awesome.
he's died. And then the next issue after, there's zero words. You don't hear anything, or you don't read anything. It's just all frames that you're kind of going through of the
Hickman
motion that
is
he's gone. He's brilliant writer.
Master,
Brilliant writer, yeah.
master of
He's
his
just a
craft.
brilliant writer.
He
so.
should be a script writer.
Nah.
I'd love to have that guy on me. I'd love to see him have some. Well, he does have an influence on the MCU, but him like actually writing something
Yeah.
in this world.
Yeah.
Infinity War pulled a lot from
Yeah.
For sure.
from Infinity in that run.
But I
too.
think he doesn't just do like his own stuff now, like his independent stuff. I don't think he writes for Marvel.
he doesn't
anymore.
write for Marvel anymore.
Quite a bit of
He
writers
should
have gone
come
that
to
route.
DC. He'd be perfect for Justice
Oh,
League.
have some influence on a Fantastic Four movie.
Or Shazam.
my
They'll
God.
pull from his run if they
Hope
do
so.
FF in
Hope
the
so.
MCU, or when they do it, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, how about this? Which characters are you still unsure about, and why?
Easily Darth Vader. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, get out of here.
I didn't say that in front of the Hall of Vader.
My throat is choking me. I was actually gonna, say these people, but then Troy made him sound sweet. Was the Fantastic Four? I've never read their stuff, and their movies have been lead me a little more to be desired. Especially the last one with Josh Trank. Not to pile on the guy, because he sent out a nice tweet to Stan Lee saying like I failed you, but I thought that was
Oh, really?
yeah, it was kind of
That's
sad.
heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's like, I tried my best or something, but I failed you. It's
Aw,
heartbreaking. So I
man.
don't want to pile on the guy.
I'm sorry, Josh Trank, for everything I ever said.
Yeah,
I love Chronicle though, man.
Chronicle was
yeah,
awesome.
right.
Chronicle.
Love
Yeah.
Chronicle. Let's all give some love to Chronicle.
Yeah, man.
But the movies have not been there for me, and I don't really read that much Marvel, to be honest with you. So that's kind of my barometer. So to me, Fantastic Four, I just never really get. Like people always like say like, oh, Fantastic Four, they're up there with Superman, they're up there with Batman, and I'm like, nah, man, they're not up there.
Feige will change your mind someday.
Yeah.
I hope he does. I hope he
Jonathan
does.
Hickman run.
Yeah,
Tell me, you
yeah.
pick up that book, man. You'll
Yeah,
never.
you
Well, I
will
could
be
just
a fan.
Can I borrow it and just never return it?
Like Dunkirk, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
I haven't got there yet. Don't worry.
Just watch 5 minutes a day. Okay, so then by the time it's Christmas, you'll be done.
Okay.
5 minutes a day.
I will commit to that.
He will not, folks. Let's start a pool, okay? We'll all put down a date when Tim finishes Dunkirk, and then the winner takes all the money.
Okay.
Tim cannot
I was
participate.
gonna say I'm definitely participating in this.
No collusion. It's all got to be in secret.
Yeah, secret collusion. All right, Trey.
I'd have to go probably with Green Lantern, Hal Jordan.
Oh, my. Let me.
Because I grew up on Justice League Unlimited and all that
Right.
cartoon, and it's always been Jon Stewart,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I played DC Universe Online, this video game, and I think like Kyle Rayner's in there, and he's kind of cool.
I like him. He's like the artist, right?
Yeah. And then you have the architect, which is Jon Stewart. But then Hal Jordan, for me, like I think Hal Jordan's actually okay. It's just when he's like Green Lantern, I've never really been big on it. I'm just like, whatever.
Okay.
I mean,
this is the perfect time.
What do I got to do, man?
Perfect time, because Grant Morrison, all-star writer.
Love Grant Morrison.
And this new artist, or maybe he's new, I don't know, but it's the first time I saw his work. It is fantastic. It is spectacular.
Okay.
It looks kind of like 80s or 90s, but modernized art. It's amazing. So he just released issue 1 maybe like a week ago. I kid you not, I read it, and I was going to come on here and say, you know, it's probably top 5 favorite issues this year.
What?
If
Get
not,
out of here.
if not even top 3.
Is he back to being just like Green Lantern, or is he still like the head of the whole Green Lantern Corps? Because I like him when he's just like
he's just like a regular, like, I don't know, kind of, because I stopped reading Green Lantern for years.
Right.
This is the first Green Lantern book, so I think they're getting to that.
Okay.
But man, it is just so good.
Really?
The art was really good.
Yo,
The
top
story-
3 of the year.
Top 3 of the year.
What?
Yeah.
I gotta ask you guys next time what your top 3 is. Then I gotta figure that
Grant
out.
Morrison wrote
Right?
it so good, and they're so. It's
We're talking
just
top 3. I'm gonna have to get into it.
That's
like,
crazy.
I've
Top
been
3
looking,
of the year.
I've been looking for Green Lantern because I'm the cosmic end of things. And my love for the cosmic.
This
it makes
is
sense that I would like Green
perfect.
Lantern.
Right. Yeah.
This is like, it reminded me of like watching a Guardians film or something like
Wow.
that. Like
Okay.
It's the first issue just came out. I think
Next-
it's called The Green Lantern.
Next time I go to the shop, I will pick up that issue.
You just got to pick
I
up
promise,
the one
cross
issue.
my heart.
And if you read that one issue, I'll even lend it to you guys. And if you read it and you still don't think Hal Jordan is sweet and Green Lantern is good, lend it back, give it back, and then you don't have to buy it anymore. So you save your money. But I am willing to bet you guys will love it.
He's the best Green Lantern? Hal Jordan?
I don't know about that, but he's pretty sweet in this one. Unfortunately, I don't, it's hard to know. I really like the guy, I think his name's Baz, the like Muslim Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
The
and
new
he's
one.
running around with the Justice League, the
Yeah.
recent one. Yeah.
I liked him, but
Yeah.
he's pretty new, so he doesn't have like.
Has the mask.
Yeah, he's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But Hal Jordan, I like too.
Okay.
I like them all.
Awesome. Interesting.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Mine for this is Aquaman.
Oh,
Well, let me
shots
tell
fired.
you, no, I'm just kidding.
No, this is why I like these discussions
Yeah.
because it brings to the forefront. If we're honest with each other,
Yeah.
you can maybe spin things around.
Yeah.
Because Aquaman, I have zero reading knowledge of Aquaman.
Well, why would you, right? Like, I didn't even read him and I was like a hardcore DC guy until like a year into
Yeah.
the New 52.
And the iteration that we've seen in the films, I guess, kind of cameo. I like, what's his name?
Jason Momoa.
Jason
I almost
Momoa.
want to call him Khal Drogo. I love the kid. I love him, but I still feel like we haven't had enough time with him to really appreciate what he's going to do. And I've aired this before. My reluctance or my worry a bit about this Aquaman film, that it's a bit much.
Right.
And so my skepticism still lies there. I think that they have the right formula. It's all going to come down to execution. So I'm going to remain skeptical, cautiously optimistic, if you even want to call it that, until we sit down in a couple weeks and watch that film in a month, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking. That's going to be my defining moment for Aquaman is that film.
I got an idea. Okay. So we should do something where maybe like in a month time we all so I'll read Hickman's Fantastic Four.
Uh-huh.
You
What am I gonna
read
read?
Green Lantern, Grant Morrison, and you read the first Jeff Johns Aquaman trade.
Cool.
And maybe in a month's time we'll all come back here and discuss and say, okay, did our opinions change?
Okay, that's cool.
Cool. I like it.
I like that one.
I like that. Grabs, you're
Seeding
expanding
into
your
that.
Yeah,
mind.
look what this guy does to us.
He
eh?
is like
awesome.
he's like the farmer, and we are like the trees, and he is nurturing us and letting us grow and expand.
Yeah. I think he actually farms.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. All right, I got a couple more questions to hammer through here before we get into our Disney Plus. Weird.
Well, it's just a Freudian slip. We
Yeah.
all know you love the DC.
Which characters have become fan favorites that initially struggled for popularity?
Oh, I can't think of any right now. Star Wars?
Yeah, there is. It's the one I have is in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, okay.
Ahsoka Tano.
Oh,
How did I just say
yeah. Snips. Okay.
Yeah, Snips.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, give it to us.
So it's a character that in the Clone Wars, her first introduction there, I found myself pathetically annoyed by the character. Snips, it's just the quips, the snips,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't like her.
Yeah.
And now I want everything to do with Ahsoka. I want a live action film. I want her cameoing everything. I want to see what Filoni can do with this character. I'm hoping that at some point we do get a live action Ahsoka TV show or series or film or something like that, or at least a live action cameo. So for me, this character went from someone that was very annoying in the first part of the Clone Wars to probably one of those few pedestal characters. When you look at her connection to Anakin Skywalker, to Rebels, to everything that they've crafted in this universe in the last couple of years, and her just connection to Dave Filoni, the guy that was handpicked by George Lucas to really start to carry on certain things or certain creative elements that he kind of gave to him. And Ahsoka really came out of that era of creation, and I think that's a great example of a character who on the onset was not popular, at least in my personal opinion.
Right.
To now is people will take whatever they can get.
Yeah. No, definitely. That's a good one.
Okay, I just thought of one.
Yeah.
From the DC universe, I'm talking about Bane. So he comes, he hits the scene, breaks Batman's back, but hardcore fans were like, what the hell? Why isn't the Joker the one taking out Batman? Who is this Joker, or, pardon the pun, but who is this Joker that just comes onto the scene and takes him out on his brand, first entrance, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of fans really didn't like Bane when he came out. They're like, who is this guy? Why is he taking out Batman? But he's kind of grown. We've had that amazing run from King talking.
I Am Bane.
I Am Bane. Ooh, yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Where Bane fights Batman naked. It sounds sweeter than it doesn't sound as sweet, but it was pretty sweet in the comics. You have to trust me on this one.
The art was crazy. Yeah, for real. Yeah, it was crazy.
No Bane penis in that one, or else that would have been
the
like
book's worth like $100 now.
Isn't that crazy? Batman,
really?
Yeah, and they're not even releasing the second one for a long time. They're gonna overhaul everything over a penis.
There you go.
Yeah, wow. The bat penis is that powerful.
Do you both have the issue?
No,
I bought it. Yeah, I bought it. Yeah.
I wish I bought it because I probably would have flipped it.
$4 is what, or $5 is what it was.
I would have never flipped it.
You would have just kept on that one page.
Yeah, would have framed it and sent it to you for Christmas.
The original bat dick pic. But yeah, Bane. He's certainly got his due. Tom Hardy played him masterfully in The Dark Knight Rises. Don't listen to Troy. And,
he's fine. Just the movie's a flop for me.
That's fine. We all have our wrong opinions. Iconic voice behind Darth Vader. Name another iconic voice.
I really like Bane's voice.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way. Yeah.
Oh, Mark Hamill's Joker. Oh,
okay.
That's
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
It's brilliant.
So yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
Going back to DC too, I go with Jason Todd.
Todd, right.
The second Boy Wonder. Nobody liked him, clearly because they voted for his death.
Was that a call-in too, right? It was a hotline?
Way back in the middle of the whole book where you could be like, call in now, keep him or kill him.
I wonder if you call in that number now, what will happen? We should try calling it. If
probably
you
out
have
of service.
Stop calling. Jason Todd's dead already.
Jason there?
Yeah.
That's a good one. And now
but he turned out to be Red Hood, right? They brought him back kind of around the same time they brought Bucky. Really.
Yeah.
And wow, what a cool pull that was to bring him back. Because that's a big thing. That's kind of like Gwen Stacy's death to Bruce Wayne, in the sense that you just did not bring back that Boy Wonder, the Robin.
Yeah.
And he came back as the Red Hood. We've had a great run. I think the New 52 run, Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yes.
That was great. But then there's the Red Hood Dark Trinity, which is Red Hood, Bizarro, and what's not Wonder Woman, but it's the
Donna Troy?
No, she starts with an A. Shoot.
Anna Troy?
That's gonna kill me. But it's a great run. It's super cool. I just think Jason Todd Red Hood is awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right on.
And it's got a great animated film.
Oh, it's one of the best DC animated films.
With
for sure.
Neil Patrick Harris, yeah.
As Nightwing.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Solid. Yeah.
I've been making bold proclamations all podcast. Top 3 animated DC film for you?
Top 3 DC animated films?
Yeah.
Under the Red Hood, Dark Knight Returns, but
oh,
you have
that's
to do
good
both of
one.
them,
Yeah.
both.
Yeah. Mask of
Shoot.
Phantasm's good.
Oh, damn, yeah.
It's
tough.
tough.
But then there's some Justice League ones in there. Oh, Justice League Frontier. I love that one.
Oh, so
That's
good, so
brilliant.
good, so
Yeah.
good. Dark.
I've never seen any of them.
Oh, you're missing out. I honestly think the animated films are better than the live action because I think they're a little bit more deeper and they go and expand the story more than the live action ones.
Oh, I think it's Artemis. Sorry, that's
Artemis.
who,
Yeah,
that's who it is. Okay.
Okay.
Right on.
All
All right,
right,
last
there you go.
question here. What are some of the lowest moments in comic movies, and TV for your favorite characters? We should be able to rattle off.
This is
Just
easy.
chuck them out. Just chuck them out.
Batman and Robin.
At the back card.
Holy rusted metal, Batman.
Yeah. What did you say? The metal's rusted, Batman. Oh yeah.
Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire
The
dance
dance?
scene.
Yeah.
Terrible. Terrible. Get out of here with that.
Oh.
What about, speaking of Fantastic Four:
Fantastic
Rise of the
Four.
Silver Surfer,
Yeah.
what do you call it?
Oh,
Reed Richards dance.
Yeah, his bachelor party.
Come on.
Superman 4, Quest for Peace, when they ran out of money, so you can see the wires on Nuclear Man, and his powers to scratch you with his nails. I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Superman 2 when he throws the S.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And it's like, what? Or isn't that the one too where if he kisses you, you forget about his powers?
Who was that? Was that Who did that?
That's Superman.
Was
Because
it
Lois
Superman?
Lane found out he was Clark
Oh, yeah.
Kent, and then he kissed him.
Who
And
kissed me?
Oh.
yeah, people still want that over Man of Steel. Go figure.
Yeah.
That's
What
that's
about
crazy.
in X-Men Origins Wolverine when they sew Deadpool's
Oh.
mouth shut?
Oh, that's like one of the worst.
That's one of the
One
most
of the
egregious
lowest moments, because now the character is
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
took away the key aspect
Yeah,
of the
oh,
Burke with the
man.
mouth. That's literally in his nickname.
I mean, it's so crazy that Deadpool was able to get another film and work. Because if you look at Hollywood, whenever the first film is a flop, they never come back for it. Look how long we've been waiting for another Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
So it's so incredible that Ryan Reynolds was patient and he leaked that footage and fans went crazy.
Well, they also did it for $55 million.
Yeah, that budget,
Yeah.
you can't beat that.
No,
yeah.
or whatever it was, 58. Because I would guess that the original budget for Deadpool was probably 150 to
For sure.
It was probably
Well,
way
what
up there.
Gambit's was.
Yeah.
What the hell was up with that?
Yeah.
If we ever get a
150
Gambit film.
someone. Yeah, never ever. Is
Well,
happening.
that's another one too. Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, he was not bad.
Yeah.
He was awful.
Yeah. Yeah, poor guy.
Just the whole film,
I
it could,
guarantee.
the whole film minus the opening credits.
The opening credits is one of the best opening credits
Love it.
in the history.
Oh,
of
yeah, that was
Yeah.
good.
when he's
Yeah.
running through all the wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I
solid.
love that.
That was
But I was like, he's Canadian. Why is he fighting in the U.S. Civil War and stuff?
Because he was kind of there. Canada wasn't a place. Which what? Yeah, I don't know.
Because he was born in Edmonton, I thought.
Yeah, but if they kind of because
Yeah, somewhere in
Canada
Alberta.
wasn't a place during the American Civil War.
No, especially not Western Canada.
Yeah, it doesn't actually make any sense though, because he was definitely born on Canada soil.
Yeah,
Canadian soil.
right. Because he's
yeah.
been always part of Alpha Flight and
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
that's really weird.
Yeah.
Good call.
Huh, interesting. Reframes all of that for me in my mind.
The continuity doesn't work.
Erase this world.
Yeah, just erase that whole film.
Done. All right, Grabs, that wraps it up for this week. We thank you again for making us better here at the Nerd Room. I always love talking that because we end up on tangents and it's just a lot of fun. It's real nerd talk.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
sweaty for sure.
One time you're gonna have to call in, Grabs, and you're gonna have to shoot the shit with us on one of your questions.
Yeah. Look at you, man. That's a good idea, actually. Grabs,
Right?
here's a formal invite for
Yeah.
you to call in, FaceTime in
Oh, yeah.
for an episode
Oh, yeah.
before the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very, very
Oh, that's
doable.
nice.
Yeah,
That's nice.
and
No
you had to
theme
wear a
song.
tuxedo because we're very formal
And
here.
this is when Sunjay will debut, the official.
Yeah, if you come on, I will make you a theme song.
You've been saying that for years.
Yeah, but he's
I
never
feel
come
like
on.
Years. All right, guys, we're going to swing to our final topic for this evening, and that is going to be Disney Plus. Disney Edition, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And there are two confirmed series that go with The Mandalorian and Clone Wars saved as well. Like I said at the top of the episode, we finally got a peek behind the curtains. Bobby Iger here unveiled the name during an earnings call last Thursday, and he announced that the service will launch in the U.S. in late 2019. Fingers crossed that means U.S. and Canada.
Yes.
We're included in that whole big lump
DC
there.
streaming universe, I'm looking at you.
Yes. That's still not out here.
No,
No,
and I've been
brutal.
dying to see Titans.
Yeah, I know. I want to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think of this name? Having Disney in the name does mean something. It's a close association with that brand.
Yeah.
So do you think there's going to be R-rated content on this? Because keep in mind, once the Fox purchase is finalized, they will own the controlling share in Hulu as well. So technically, they'll be developing or at least revamping one streaming service and launching their own. So what are your thoughts on the name itself and its close association with Disney?
Yeah, it works for me. They probably wanted to call it like Disney Flicks or something like that. Leverage off Netflix. But
D-Flicks,
yeah. Well, that might be something else.
Jeez.
Which I'm surprised there isn't a streaming service for that yet, because I want to make that
It's
and become
called
a
the
billionaire.
internet.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't stream on your TV.
It streams on your phone and every other device, including your TV.
Well, I don't know these things because I don't have technology.
Yeah, your wife doesn't listen, so don't worry about it.
But yeah, no, it works. Disney is such a powerful brand, especially nowadays. Before this episode, we're rattling off 10 big movies that are coming out next year that have the potential to gross $1 billion. So yeah, that's great. Anything with Disney is like the Midas touch, the Disney touch.
Definitely.
Yeah. So it is Disney Plus?
Yeah, Disney Plus is what it's called. They debuted the logo and all that.
That's
it's just like in the absence of that thing that goes over the castle usually, it just kind of drops down into an edition sign or plus
Okay,
sign.
that's cool. So yeah, obviously we won't be getting any rated R content
I don't think
on
so.
here. So how do you think the Mandalorian will be handled? Like how?
I think when I say rated R stuff, I guess it's the swearing and the outright violence.
Right.
So I don't know how the Mandalorian's gonna land here. Because that close association with Disney in itself speaks to already what it's gonna be.
Right.
But you look at what they do in the MCU still, right?
Yeah.
They can have hard-hitting films.
Right.
They can have serious content, and they just need to put a warning sign up on. It's more about removing themselves from putting Deadpool onto the service.
Right.
Stuff like to that degree, right?
Because even when you look at Last Jedi, like that awesome fight scene in the throne room, that's pretty dope. And I mean, so if we can get away with a lot of stuff like that,
Just don't show blood and you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's easy to do too because you're killing aliens. You're killing masked humans, right? So it's not having that eye to eye locking on the screen of like, okay, there's a human that's getting cut in half here.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So people seem to have no issues if it's not a direct comparable to human, right?
That's right.
And so that's the use of the cannon fodder armies in films as well, is that you can just mow these things down and not have that same visceral impact on another human or a child that you would if it was humans and you're seeing the same
Ultron
thing.
bots.
Exactly. So yeah, I agree. I the name seems fine to me. Disney Plus, Disney Play, direct to consumer service, whatever. It's better than that for sure.
Yeah.
But it's the close association with the brand was needed. This had to speak that this was a Disney branded thing. They launched a website as well, and the website is very just to sign up for emails, which I did. But it just has on there, it has a logo, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, whatever, animation.
Cool.
So it just has the logos, the main things that are going to be represented on this service. And I'm a day one subscription.
Oh, for sure.
The content, the alone that they have just in their back catalog's huge. And then you add in Fox's back catalog. And then you start to layer on what they're going to be producing here. What we know already. The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Clone Wars.
Yes.
Clone Wars saved. 2 big Star Wars releases, probably to kick this thing really off.
Yep.
And then we got word in this same call. It was confirmed that Diego Luna will reprise his role as Cassian Andor for a spin-off series that will take place before the events of Rogue One, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But also confirmed there on the Marvel side was this Loki series.
Yes.
So Tom Hiddleston will be reprising that role and coming back for something like a 6 to 10 episode miniseries focusing in on the trickster, the god of mischief himself.
Yes.
And this goes along with other things like the rumored Falcon and Winter Soldier, the rumored Scarlet Witch. So major original content coming to the Disney Plus subscription service, which is going to be a major driver for everybody into this.
Yep.
This is going to, like, Disney's shares are going to soar. This thing, if they continue to produce this style of content with the amount of money they're going to dump into this, it will rival. I don't think it's going to take over Netflix. I don't think it's going to push Netflix out of the market, but it's definitely going to make its presence felt with this original content. This direct-to-consumer, they're skipping the middleman with the theaters at this point, right? And they're putting cinematic quality, or what we're assuming to be cinematic quality shows or even films, directly to the consumer, bypassing that big chunk of cash that they dump into I guess maybe not a lot. They kind of screw, I think, a lot of these theaters. But the same day, this is directly from production to our laps. This is very different. And the fact that they're giving this a real cinematic vibe is very, very exciting.
Do you think they'll still release these things on Blu-rays? Because I know like some Netflix shows you can get Blu-rays or DVD. I believe.
Yeah, that's my big concern, is that some of the stuff won't be physically available,
right.
and it'll just be available to stream.
I don't think, at least on the onset, there's no market for that.
Yeah.
Like the exclusivity is what drives you to subscribing to these things. And I know they've done a bit of that, and they can make a lot of money at Blu-ray sales. But to be honest with you, if this thing, as I love calling him Bob Iger, as he said, that will be below Netflix pricing, so below whatever it is now, $13.
Yeah.
So if something's $10 a month, so $120 a year, and you're spending $40-$50 to get a Blu-ray set of the Cassian Loki series,
Yeah.
just double that up and you get all this extra content.
Right.
It's true, but that content may not be there forever.
That's yes and no. I think that these subscription services are here to stay. And when they're backed by companies like Netflix and Disney, the two biggest entertainment corporations on the planet, that's and like Apple too. Like the fear is one day if Apple disappears, that all your digital content disappears with it.
Not mine. I'm not Apple.
I'm 100% in.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and you being a physical guy, that's an important piece of it. Maybe someday, maybe 2-3 years, once it's no longer the driver towards the service, then you can turn to that market. When the Star Wars or the Cassian Loki series is not something that's this is why Luke Cage and all that's gone away.
Right.
Yeah. They're no longer a driver towards the subscription service anymore. So they've disappeared.
Right.
And maybe you'll see stuff like that pop back onto a home video release where they could make a couple $1 million back off of just producing the discs and that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I also wonder about the old stuff too, like their old titles, like a movie like Lion King. Disney's notorious for putting those films in the vault and then releasing them like once every 6 years, right?
Capitalism.
So, right? So are they gonna not even release them at all? Just say, okay, they're all in the vault, and we take them out of the vault, then you can see them on your subscription service for 6 months, and we put them back up in the vault. And then you don't even release Blu-rays or 4Ks.
I think you got to release them now, because I think that day and age is gone where you can get away with the vault kind of stuff. I feel like now, because they're basically kind of like what you just mentioned, they're getting away from Blu-rays and physical stuff. It's all on hop on my streaming device, so I feel like it would kind of be pointless for them to kind of keep that away from people. Especially with the movie coming up, Lion King, they're doing a live action film.
Right.
It'd be kind of silly if they didn't have the animated one on their own streaming device. That's what I figure.
Well, and it might be too with at least with the new releases, they'll do the digital thing 2-3 weeks or a month in advance. You can get it February 1st, but everyone else that's buying it gets it on April or March. March or April 1st, right?
Yeah.
So and that's the idea behind the 2 weeks that we're seeing right now. With you can get the Marvel digital release 2 weeks early, because they're driving you towards that and moving you away from physical media by saying you can watch this 2 weeks early. All you gotta do is pay for it here.
Right. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to watch that space, because I think we're really going down that path. And like me personally, I buy Star Wars films and the odd Marvel film. That's it. I used to be a big Blu-ray consumer. I used to be a big DVD consumer as well. And I've gotten really away from that because I like the optionality of taking this wherever I go.
Yeah.
And I do like the collector aspect of it, but I'm checking fully into this. I'm super excited because you can't buy a Disney Blu-ray of those old films for like less than $35-$40 if you want a digital copy with it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's crazy. I mean, the Disney ones are specifically hard to get because you don't really find them. Like, they're all collectible. You know, when you find them pop up, they're selling for a pretty penny.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why this is appealing. I can pay $12 a month, and my daughter can watch every single Disney film that's ever.
You're gonna watch Frozen so many times.
I've already watched it. I guess that's an assumption we're also making, that all that content's going to be on there. It might be sporadically released. We may see, as the Jungle Book 2 comes out or whatever, or Lady and the Tramp or Aladdin. Like you said, we may see the originals drop onto the streaming service, and it might not just be like, here's all our content. Because that's another way to bring excitement is, we're bringing Robin Hood out of the vault. Here it is.
Yeah.
On a streaming service, and it'll be there for 2 years, and then it'll disappear, and then, it's about building that hype.
Do they even need theaters anymore? Like a film like episode maybe 10, maybe they'll just release it straight to streaming instead of the TV service.
The money, though, like you're talking, what did episode 8 make? Like
200 plus.
Like almost $2 billion, whatever, $1.7 billion.
But for now, Last Jedi made a lot less than that. It still made a
Last
shit.
Jedi
That was
made
last-
1.4, I think, maybe.
It's still like a ton of money. Don't get me wrong, but like, what if Solo didn't make that much? Maybe like a film like that gets released.
Well, that's where this idea of it being a niche consumer service is important. Is that a film like Solo probably will never see anything like Rogue One or Solo probably on the film anymore. That's going to be for your event style filming. And the smaller stories like the Cassian Andor series is going to be on the streaming service because that's a better platform for it. Maybe it's not. Maybe you can't support something like these niche stories on the big screen anymore. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because I think we're going to get to a point where it's like, what are people going to be anticipating more, The Mandalorian or Episode 9? I mean, Episode 9, obviously, that's the end of the whole Skywalker saga, but eventually we're going to get to that point where people are like, Old Republic, that's never going to happen, but Old Republic, no, I would rather watch, I don't know, the Chronicles of Kira.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna get to that point though, right? Yeah. Where it's just like, do you want to go to the theaters to watch this movie, or would you rather be invested? Because I know people are crazy invested in their Ozarks and their Mindhunters and all those kind of things. So if you're getting a Star Wars series like The Mandalorian or even a Kenobi series, I'd rather have a 2-hour film as opposed to 10 seasons of Kenobi.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get to that point. Like, what do you think?
I think as long as they're telling stories that don't belong on the big screen.
Right.
I like that big screen experience.
Yes.
Like we talked about it last week during the Snapocalypse, right? Is taking away the theater experience versus the home watching experience, which does to a degree include Netflix or streaming services. And I think there's still an important aspect about going to the theater and experience it on the big screen. They film these things in IMAX for a reason. It's not for me to watch it on my 60-inch TV in my basement.
Right. Yeah.
You don't ever get that. The 4K, like, you're never going to get that true experience, that cinematic experience that they really make these films for. What they have to be careful with is what content they put to screen.
Right.
I'm saying Star Wars needs to be event-style films.
Right.
So even if it's every 2 years, every 3 years, we get a big Star Wars film, and in the meantime, we get The Mandalorian Season 2, we get a Kenobi solo or something, you know what I mean? So they're telling smaller stories instead of going to the big screen and trying to kind of almost fill that space the same way Marvel does. Marvel's found what formula works for them. 3 films a year, very minimal content elsewhere. You look at in contrast to Star Wars, Marvel doesn't do tie-in comic books really. They do kind of preludes. They don't do tie-in books. They don't do TV series really that tie in. They're going to now. But this is Marvel's first step into expanding the universe outside of the cinematic experience. So it would be interesting to see how that goes. But
they did the Netflix and the Shield, I guess, Agents of Shield.
But not in the same way that Star Wars does, where there's like obvious nods. Like you look at Rebels, they got Mon Mothma in there, Saw Gerrera. There's a lot of interconnectivity there. Where the Marvel TV stuff, the ABC and the Netflix stuff, was always we wanted it to be. I wanted it to all matter. And it was almost adjacent to it all.
Right.
Like there's no reciprocation of the tie-ins. There was with Rebels and you look at Rogue One, there was Chopper and the Ghost and Hera was mentioned.
Syndulla,
so there's reciprocation there. You never got that with the Marvel stuff. So I think there's a way to do it where both are valuable, both are a product that we're going to want to watch.
Right.
They just have to market it properly and have to leave. I think Star Wars, the event films, they have to leave them on the pedestal out there every 3 years.
Here's a question. Do you guys think that the long-form storytelling you get with Netflix and those TV shows that are like 10 episodes an hour each, so it's 10 hours to tell a story, do you think that's affecting how theater goers see a 2-hour movie? You mentioned you want to see that 2-hour movie.
Yes.
But you got to cut something. You got to cut 8 hours, right? So a lot less gets shown. I'm concerned if like movies like Lord of the Rings. Well, that's a bad example because that movie was super long.
And it's going to become a series, isn't it?
Yeah. But like a movie, I'm trying to think of an example, but a movie that maybe was just 2 hours that if it got released now, people maybe not enjoy as much because it's shorter and there isn't as much like tie-in, so we don't get to know all about these characters or all about these worlds as we do with TV shows on like Netflix now and stuff. Like the MCU, you look at it, that's the most successful thing. You could argue that's kind of long-form storytelling.
Definitely.
Yeah,
they're just all serialized. Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't really a sequel to... Well, it was, but like Captain America Civil War wasn't really a sequel to Captain America Winter Soldier. It was like MCU episode 18 kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the long-form storytelling is important, and that's like the backbone of comic books, right? And that's what's been successful for the MCU. But when you're talking about 2-hour movies, there's always got to be a focal point. Where these series, your focal point can meander, it can stray a little bit. You look at recently Daredevil season 3.
Yes.
You get episodes about Karen, you get episodes about Foggy. In the past, you get an episode about a whole bunch about Punisher embedded in those. In a movie, you don't have the time for that.
Right.
You focus on Captain America, you focus on Iron Man, you tell their story.
Right.
Infinity War executed it very well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was mostly a Thanos and Thor story. I just rewatched it. And Captain America's on the screen for like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's an economic way about doing it, but there has to be sacrifices. And usually who gets sacrificed is the supporting characters. You don't get really, or we haven't really got a Falcon backstory.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
We've got some of the Winter Soldier, but he had to play the main antagonist to get that.
Right.
So Black Widow. She's been in like 10 movies, and we still really don't know a lot about her.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's bits and pieces there. So that's where the sacrifice comes. If we had Captain America, the TV series, we probably got Black Widow fleshed out. We would have got Hawkeye. You know
His
what
mom.
I mean?
Yeah.
His mom,
Yeah.
everything, right? So you get a real look into the character. So that's, to me, where the long-form storytelling works for Marvel, because it has a chance to do this. But when you take a real close look at the characters that have actually been developed, it's a handful of people.
Right.
As opposed to Daredevil, which I know more about Karen Page than I do about half the Marvel characters I've been watching for the last 10 years in the MCU.
For sure.
that's
Well, and that's why I feel like, kind of like what you mentioned, it depends on the content that you're trying to explain. For instance, like if you did an Obi-Wan Kenobi, well, we already know, and not the whole audience is reading the comics and watching the shows, but I mean, if you are, you already know Obi-Wan's taking out Darth Maul and Twin Sons, right? And then you already know, if you're reading the comics, that there's Luke's journals. We've already seen a couple of those events, and he probably hasn't left Tatooine. So it's like, do you really need to do a whole series about that, or could you not really just do events right after Episode 3, right? Because you don't really need to do anything after, obviously, Twin Sons. Like, that stuff's all pretty much self-explanatory. So I feel like it just depends on who you're trying to tell. But if you want to do a Boba Fett film, that makes sense to me if you were to do a series as opposed to a film.
That's what really The Mandalorian is.
Yeah, right?
Kind of, in a roundabout way.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So Cassian Andor. What's the thoughts on that for everybody?
You know, for me, I'm excited about it. Rogue One is one of my favorite.
You love it.
Star Wars.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely love the second of all time. To me,
Wow.
right behind Empire Strikes Back. And
Ooh, real.
yeah,
Nice.
I love this.
Nice.
I
All right.
absolutely love the space that it puts it in, and the characters in there. I think it's all really, really well done.
dope.
Really well developed.
Yeah.
This kind of caught me off guard. In a million years, I would have never said that we're going to get a Cassian Andor spin-off series that focuses around kind of the rebel spy, pre-Rogue One, the rebellion. You know, there's some information about Diego Luna's character in there. Cassian in the film itself, about him doing this since the age of 6. So there's a lot of story they can tell there,
For
right?
sure.
They have a lot of leverage to use characters like Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera maybe, Bail Organa, to bring in characters that we
K2.
saw. K2 maybe, we'll see. We have that comic book. But,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but to me, it's like, after thinking about it, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Is that you get a character that can carry the screen on his own,
Yeah.
and then you add in a bunch of supporting cast, and you set it in a time where we're comfortable. Again, this comes back to the comic books. We're going back to a comfortable time.
Right.
But I'm okay with that for this series, because Rogue One was done so well, and if you can tell the gritty side of the rebellion,
Right.
the shady side,
Right.
the down in the trenches that he refers to early on in the film, on the rings of Krafin, or whatever it's called. I think that can be exciting.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, not having even anything to do with the Force.
Yeah.
I'm kind of okay
Yeah.
with just alluding to a little bit. It's taking Rebels, amping it up, making it live action.
Okay.
I don't know. How are you feeling about this?
I'll see it. I'll like it. I liked Rogue One a lot, and I've grown to like it even more. I don't like it as much as you, obviously, but I do love the Vader moments. But for me, I feel like, since this Disney era, I feel like we've had a lack of the Force stuff, and I feel like we keep getting all these new things, and we're not diving into the Force. So I felt like this would be a good opportunity to dive into Sheridan Base. I mean, especially without them being so hardcore Force, but kind of Force sensitive. Like, I mean, was it Guardians of the Whills?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, explore that, because we're not going to explore that in the movies anytime soon. So I think there's a whole story that could be told there, which would have been really cool to see the relationship develop, to see Base lose his faith in the Guardians of the Whills. I think that'd be really cool. And my problem with Rogue One is the characters weren't developed enough, so I felt like those two characters could be really fleshed out.
Yeah.
Cassian is developed a bit better in the book. You find out he's from a family of separatists, which is really cool. So I really hope they explore that.
They have to.
They have to, right?
Like, he flips sides.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. So
or his perspective, the same side the whole time. But it's really cool how they can do that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I'm so excited, and I think the actor
Diego Luna,
I think he's great.
He's awesome.
I think he's great.
Awesome.
So I can't wait to see that, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My only concern is kind of what I had going into Solo, is that it's weird kind of doing a film or a TV series in this case about a character that you already know is dead. With Solo, like
you struggle with that.
Yeah, like it's just like, well, what's the point? Like, like this guy, how it ends for him. There's no like end game kind of thing. Whereas when you did like a film with if you did a film of I don't know, Rey, or like a TV series of Rey, which I don't know if they ever would, but that's someone who was like, okay, her story's still going on, so I do want to know more about her backstory because she still has a back and a forward story. Whereas with these guys, you're like, okay, they have a backstory. I guess you can't tell them anymore in the future. So I think maybe that kind of hurt Solo's box office, to be honest, a little bit. I think if like Solo had come out before, if they had killed off Solo in episode 8 instead of 7, and then had Solo come in between, I think it would have done better at the box office.
That's an interesting perspective, because you've brought that up in the past about the confusion of characters. I even had someone on Twitter say, "Didn't he die?"
Oh, I saw that a lot.
Yeah. And so there's that already that confusion. We're going to talk about Loki here again with another character that we literally just saw, or what we thought, die.
Yeah.
So going back and telling backstories is, at least on the onset, what they're doing here. That's why The Mandalorians has gotten a lot of focus, because this is Ford going in a space that we've never explored before. Well, the Aftermath books do, but it's something new, something different in a timeline that we haven't seen a lot of content in. And some of these, I guess my only criticism of both of these is that we're falling back into comfort zones. The Mandalorian was an escape from that.
Yeah.
This is falling back into that comic book time frame, that Rebels time frame that they're comfortable telling stories, and there's an aesthetic that they've established that people can recognize. And I think that's why they're going to this a little bit, is that, okay, we can use the stormtroopers, we can use the chicken walkers and add at something like that to make you feel comfortable, make you understand this is Star Wars.
Right.
They veered away from it a little bit this year, and it kind of bit them. I don't particularly agree with all of that, but at the same time, it's making a consumer be or feel familiar with it.
Right.
And Rogue One, out of all of the new films that have come out, is the most familiar story.
Right.
Aesthetically, story-wise, and the characters that are involved in it. They're going back to that bit. They're leaning a bit on what they know works. The reception of Rogue One was massive. It's sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! Did you not feel that with Force Awakens at all? Because it's very familiar, right?
And that was the comeback, right?
Right.
And that's like, here you guys go. Here's Star Wars as you remembered it.
Right. Okay.
And that's important. That's why J.J. Abrams, I've said this from the beginning, that's why he was brought on.
Yeah.
This guy wrote a love letter to Steven Spielberg in Super 8.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing to George Lucas in The Force Awakens. I think he really progressed the narrative and brought new and interesting elements to the universe.
Yes.
But it was still really hey, George Lucas, I loved what you did. Here's my favorite parts from that.
Right.
I'm not calling it derivative, but there are very familiar elements to that. That was on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they could all see that.
Yeah.
The filmmakers could see that. These guys aren't blindly watching this being like, wow, how did he come up with
Yeah.
these are direct callbacks.
Yeah.
But it's important to make people comfortable and familiar.
Right.
Look at The Last Jedi and what's happened.
Yeah.
That took people way outside of their comfort zones.
Definitely. Yeah.
And it's changed the perception of Star Wars maybe forever.
Possibly.
And so comfort is important for consumers. And Cassian Andor and this timeline is comfortable.
Yeah.
But they can do exciting things here.
Yes.
I think if they have a cinematic vibe and they tell a really gritty, down to earth, in the trenches, like I said, story, I think this thing is going to be great.
Cool.
Awesome. Now let's talk about Loki here before we wrap up for this evening. Again, going back to a character, like we said, that has recently died. We spent a lot of time with Loki in cinema. He's been in 3 Thor films. He's been in 2-ish or 1.5-ish Avengers films. We've seen him die a couple times. We've seen him turn into more of an anti-hero, kind of ish.
Yeah,
especially as we get into Avengers Infinity War. But this was an early rumored series to go onto this Disney Plus service. And Bobby Iger, again, he did confirm this just briefly in this call, saying that Marvel Studios is developing a series based on Loki, the God of Mischief, and it will star Tom Hiddleston. I may have said Tom Holland earlier on. I can't remember. Now, Tom Holland also went on to confirm this on Twitter by just simply tweeting out, Loki, more stories to tell, more mischief to make, more to come. Now, what are you guys' thoughts on this? Again, going back to a character and probably telling at least some form of a backstory, maybe between the Dark Worlds and Ragnarok, or there's not a ton of space I can see here right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do. There's some early thoughts that were floating around the internet about this being a female, or kind of, Loki has an ability to kind of walk line, right?
That's right. That's right. In the comics, it's happened.
Yeah, it has happened. So, what are you guys thinking? Tom Hiddleston, I think, returning the role is fantastic.
For
I
sure.
love the guy in this role.
For sure.
But what do you think they can do with the story here that's going to be intriguing and something that we want to come to fill out? Like, is Loki a character you need more of? Because I think going into Infinity War, we all kind of said Loki's story is done. This is why we're predicting he's dying, because we spent our time with Loki. It is time for him to move on. We don't want to keep walking in the same circle with Loki about, I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy, I'm a bad guy, I'm a good guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm kind of fatigued. It is great that Tom Hiddleston's coming back, but much like what Sunjay was just mentioning, it's kind of like the whole Han Solo thing all over again.
Yeah.
We've gotten a lot of Loki. I mean, he is a god, so he's been around for thousands and thousands of years. You can go back and have his story with the ice giants and all that. But I mean, even when you do the comics and the origins of Thor, the best parts was Loki and Thor growing up together, doing these things together, these adventures. Not necessarily Loki by himself. So I don't really know what to expect. Obviously, it's going to be a prequel. I mean, it'd be really bad if they jumped ahead and he did live. I think that'd be pretty devastating.
You'd have to see it in Avengers 4, because that to me that takes away from Infinity War if he hits something after. Because that was I literally just watched it yesterday.
Yeah,
and that's such an impactful moment.
Right.
That kicks off that film. That makes this, at least the stakes in that film, real. And that's important.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
you think we get Anthony Hopkins back as Odin? You must have
I
some
don't know.
moments.
I
I mean,
think-
he does TV,
And
right?
I think you could even get
the mom.
Chris Hemsworth to make a cameo.
Oh, really?
I think there's
Yeah.
endless possibilities
Yeah.
with this type of stuff. These guys are still invested
Yeah.
in these
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah.
They're not doing TV shows. Even Diego Luna, they're not doing TV shows. Well, for the money, of course, but they're also invested in these characters.
Yeah.
This is gonna be expensive. Like, if you're talking about all the stuff that they're doing and adding, like a movie's $200 million for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a 10 episode run, that's $1 billion, right? $100 million an hour.
I think they're doing like $100 million for 8 episodes type thing.
Okay, so I mean, this is gonna be not a cheap thing. So when
Yeah.
next time you go to Disneyland or Disney World, the price is gonna get jacked up a little bit more.
But it's an investment, right? In a product.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've done the math. It's
Yeah.
like we invest $1 billion or whatever it is, $2 billion into this thing. We need X amount of subscribers. So yeah, to me, this Tom Hiddleston thing with Loki is that initially I was like super stoked, but looking back, if they had done the Scarlet Witch announcement or the Winter Soldier and Falcon announcement, I think to me that would have landed slightly better, because these are stories that we haven't heard, right? And there's more space to explore with those characters than there is Loki, because we spent so much time with them. And to credit to Marvel, that's why he's one of the best villains, is because they've spent the time developing this character. We've seen him go from, at least you look in Thor 1, he's very reserved, he's kind of really starting to do his real sneaky shit.
Yeah.
And then by Infinity War, he's this god, and he's totally changed as a character. So we've seen that progression already.
Right.
I don't know where they're going to fill in.
Yeah, I know. I see, and going off that, like, I feel like we could have had other options. Like, even as much as I didn't like Ant-Man and the Wasp, there's so much mystery of the original Wasp, what she was doing in that off-world there. Like, if you could explore that kind of stuff, or it's interesting too, though. I mean, if we eventually get Fantastic Four, we're all thinking movies. If we even got like, that could be a series of like the first family. That would be kind of cool. But I think they deserve to be on the big screen, right?
Yeah.
But I in my opinion, like, Winter Soldier and Falcon, that's great.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, that's cool. But I feel like for this spot for Loki, we could have picked so many other heroes.
Or like even
villains.
Vision or something.
That'd be pretty pricey.
Or like some of like the people in Wakanda for Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like did a series based
like a
around
Baku
that.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Cool.
Like that movie's like the highest grossing movie of MCU history. So I was expecting more stuff for that, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it's coming.
That's a good call.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to watch this space because I'm interested to see where all of this goes. Because how cool would it be if they develop some sort of, we have 3 episodes per character and there's some continuum of thread in a similar way that they've built the whole arc of the MCU. They do a really cool connective arc between random characters.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some MacGuffin. There's some through-going thread that connects Loki, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can do this in a way that it evolves how we watch TV.
Right.
How we watch particular characters. You spend some time developing them, but it's part of a much larger story. So again, coming back to the idea of comic books, I don't want this particularly to be one shots, like a Loki one shot or Scarlet Witch one shot. There has to be some development in there, and this is the right forum for doing that. It's the right platform for doing that. And like you said, I'm a little bit more skeptical on the Loki series because I just don't know where it's going to fit in.
Yes.
And that's the same way when I commented on the Winter Soldier and Falcon stuff, I'm just not sure where it all fits in. I'm sure at the end of the day, if Feige's got his hand in this and they're confident enough that Tom Hiddleston signed up, they must have a reasonable story to tell.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that doesn't take away from some of the stakes in the film universe or the MCU on film, I should say, because this is all one universe now.
Right.
But I'm excited that they're using film characters and they're using the actors that portrayed them and bring them into something different to tell a different form of storytelling. Yeah. It's a wait and see to see how they develop it all. But overall, I'm super excited for everything that's landing on Disney Plus. It's like I said, a day one purchase for me.
For sure.
Oh, for sure. Especially if it's cheaper than Netflix. Like there really is no reason not to get it.
Yeah, exactly. So much content. Awesome. Tons. Well, gentlemen, that was a absolute blast getting back here to the table. I felt like a while here. Yeah. You know, I felt like it's been hours since we even discussed Stan Lee. But I want to say again, from the bottom of our hearts to Stan Lee, you know, rest in peace. Thank you very much for everything you've given us. And gentlemen, you know, until next week, we're gonna break down some more nerd news. Gotta get a trailer here at some point for one of these big films. And we're going to walk into the latter part of this year. We've got next week is Black Friday down in the States. Yeah. We get a bit of that up here. So we may be breaking down some figure releases if we do see them out there. We're also going to be talking as we move into the early part of December. Aquaman, we're going to see Into the Spider-Verse hitting here. So we've got a busy end of the year. And we'll also
Mary Poppins.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph.
It's a big year.
It is.
A big time to watch the end of our box office fantasy draft. I just posted some of the results. Sunjay just moved ahead a tick there.
Yeah,
but we'll see how all that lands. And then as we get towards the end of the year here, we always do our year in review where we'll talk about 2018 in total, and then we'll do our what we're looking forward to in 2019. So the Nerd is going to be busy here. I'm super excited for everything to come here. Thank you again to Grabs for contributing to the podcast, and thank you to Rob Wade. He endorses this podcast. E14 endorse every single week, so go check out everything he does on emotionally14.com. And if you guys would like to be a part of this podcast, you can always email us at thenerdroom@gmail.com. You can hit us on Facebook or at YouTube, and you can always catch us on Twitter. We're always kind of hanging out just in the background there, just doing our thing. And you catch everything that we do on thenerdroom.net as well as StarWarsCommonwealth.com, and make sure to go check out what everyone else is doing over on StarWarsCommonwealth.com, all the other 9 podcasts in the Star Wars Commonwealth. Oh, man, that was a mouthful. All right, guys, until next week for the Nerd Room, I'm Tim.
I'm Troy.
And I'm Sunjay.
And thank you for entering the Nerd Room. This has been a Nerd Room podcast production. You can find our hosts, Tim, Troy, and Sunjay on Twitter at TheNerdRM, TroyTheBoy87, and Sunjabby. For more content from the Nerd Room, check out thenerdroom.net. And don't forget to subscribe to the Nerd Room on iTunes, Podbean, and YouTube. Be sure to head over to StarWarsCommonwealth.com to find more podcasts in the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network, including Talk Star Wars, Tumbling Saber, Generation X-Wing, Rogue Squadron Podcast, Skyrips Podcast, and San Diego Sabers. Follow the Star Wars Commonwealth on Twitter at SW Commonwealth and take your first steps into a larger world.